All right. I'll call the meeting to order and I will ask staff to take a roll call.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Devine.
Here.
Wayne Clark. Eric Torkelson.
Here.
Brian Frank.
Here.
Brandon Reinke.
Here.
Jessica Katzenmeyer.
Here.
Kathleen Dagenhart.
Here.
Lisa Coons. David Rashka.
Great.
They're all present. Yep.
Item C will be approval of the minutes from our April 23rd meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Were there any changes or corrections? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Then we'll move on to item 2. Demolition plan for St. Aloysius.
All right.
Turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Our first item here, we have F Street with us here in the audience, and they are the developer that is going to be demolishing and developing the St. Aloysius property on 92nd and Greenfield Avenue. This has been in the community for quite some time, a number of different additions over time, but you know, the church is was sold to a developer, prior developer, who didn't develop it, and it sat for a number of years. And now, fortunately, with the help of the CDA, Community Development Authority, City of West Dallas, and F Street, we're seeing some movement on this property. F Street will purchase the property and is going to be demolishing it. The purpose of the Plan Commission meeting this evening is really just to sort of go over the development or the demolition schedule, and the ultimate goal, though, would be for redevelopment of this property with up to about 100, just shy of 160 units of development in the future, ranging from more dense apartment along Greenfield Avenue and 92nd Street, and then further south of that, garden-style apartments along 92nd Street. The first phase of which will come back to the Planning Commission next month for consideration on the site landscaping and architectural plan and conditional use. So, or I'm sorry, just site landscape and architectural plan for that development. But the project scope this evening is again for the demolition. All foundations, the basements, concrete slabs are being removed. There's currently secure perimeter fencing, both existing what was there for St. Al's around the parking lot areas, a metal wrought iron style fence, and then more recently, construction fence has gone up to secure it during the demolition process. So before the wrecking ball hits, there will be also there's a series of different things happening right now with asbestos abatement, as well as lead abatement, and then there's going to be the typical rodent control measures. Baiting is actually happening right now in advance of demolition, and then there was a concern with chimney swifts nesting in the old chimneys at the church and school building, and that was those chimneys were capped late winter, very early spring, to prevent, you know, with the migration of the birds coming back. So that's not an issue. The cost of demolition is about about $1 million, which includes up here hazmat abatement and then the overall demolition. And then the plan consists of demolition of 2 permits will be pulled for demolition, one for the rectory and the church, and the second demolition permit for the gymnasium and the school. There'd be 1 soil erosion permit that's being pulled for that entire campus and project. You can see the different years of when things were built over time, dating back to the 1920s with the school. But the Gonzaga Village Senior Living Apartment, that's a separate property. That'll be a separate ownership. So that will not be demolished. That will continue to exist. And this new development will eventually grow up around the outside of that. So here's just sort of the overall view. Everything in red is going to be demolished, the cross-hatched red. Gonzaga Village Apartments are, right here. If you can see my cursor, those will remain. It's a separate lot entirely. And there is access off of 92nd Street that will remain to service, the garage parking and behind Gonzaga Village Apartments. But everything else will be coming down. the future development plan that we'll see next month will start to show, how access is going to be shown, and the development plan for the garden style apartments on the south end of this site. There will be, it's intended, I believe, one access off of 92nd Street and another access off of 93rd Street. And then this access point would remain to service the existing apartments. So if there's any questions or discussion, we're happy to entertain that. And we have F Street here if there's any more specific questions, but we are recommending approval of the demolition and their site plan and their scope of services that they've done, that they've submitted to us, which are also included in your staff report. Thank you.
Second. It's a motion and a second. Any other discussion or any discussion at all? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? You guys have it, that motion carries.
Nick and team, any arguments here? Okay.
Next month.
Next month. Okay. Okay.
No, thanks again.
Very good.
Looking forward to presenting and working on it. So excited to report.
Okay.
And yeah, they are starting now. So the
Cool.
meeting will be starting in the next week.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item 3A and 3B, conditional use permit and site landscaping for M&S Towing. And I'll turn it over to Scott.
Thank you, Mayor. Charlie of NNS Towing is here. Charlie's one of the owner of NNS Towing, and NNS Towing has been part of our community for probably close to 40, 50 years. I mean, it's been around since the actually probably more like 35 to 40 years. Been around since the 80s, and then they actually moved to West Dallas in the late 80s, early 90s, and they are the city's, I guess, contractor for tow removal, and so they're currently located in two spots here along National Avenue on the north side of National Avenue. One spot at 83rd, and then another at 82nd and National. They've been actively looking for a new home for the better part of probably, what, Charlie, maybe the better part of a year, I'd say, 2 years. And they found a space on 111th and Beecher, 11139 Beecher, and which is an existing truck service, which served as Milwaukee Truck Service, Nesco Rentals, among other things. I think Badger Freight and some other things over the years. But it's the spot on 111th and Beecher is shown here. It's a 2.5 acre site. It's got a 19,000 square foot building. You can see on the lower image. It has two access points off of Beecher Street, just south of Beecher, and they're going to provide sort of a continuation of services of how this property is operated over the better part of the past decade, offering service for cars and trucks, everything from oil changes to engine repair, battery, alternator, injector services for vehicles, including cars and trucks. They, as a tow service provider, they do offer service round the clock. When you need it, they'll be there 24-hour, 27 type of business. For the cars or vehicles that they do bring back to this lot, it's not going to be a salvage yard. It's intended to be a temporary storage location where vehicles would be brought back, deposited behind the building, and then picked up by their owners, typically within 2 weeks after being towed here. And then those customer hours for pickup of their vehicles that have been towed, recovering those are anywhere Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m., Saturdays 9 to 3, and then Sunday they're closed. The repair shop for the public and for services would also be closed on Saturdays. So the property is zone industrial, and this is a floor plan of the existing building. It may be hard to differentiate the colors here, but everything in the sort of lighter, I don't know, pink reddish color there is NNS Towing, generally speaking, of where they would operate. And then the existing owner would maintain some presence within the building, both here and here. And this dark line isn't necessarily a wall within the building. It's largely one larger space. So NNS Towing is going to be taking over the majority of this building and using it for their operations. And this is a look at the rear portion of the property. We're standing sort of in the side lot next to the building, and then looking back to the south. There's another truck service behind this. There's a separate lot back here, and there's a shared access way here that takes you back to where McRae has their mail service trucks and semis back in this area. The owner of the 111th and Beecher property actually has a small little outdoor area here. He's kind of cordoned off with cement blocks, and then the rest of this area would be fenced off. A new fencing would be going in both on the northern edge, off the back of the building, as well as along this west side of the shared access way back here. And it's going to be a 6 to 8 foot tall chain link fence, no barbed wire. It'll have an access gate on the north side. This is just a better, maybe a easier to follow view here, but this is that fence that we were just kind of looking at, standing basically here and looking back this way. But that's the new 6 to 8 foot fence. This is that shared access drive that takes you back to McRae's truck location. The owner is going to maintain a small area back here. NNS Towing would stage their vehicles back here that they bring back. More damaged vehicles that have been involved in an accident or some event like that would be behind the landscaping area. And then the operable vehicles that get towed as a result of a ticket or along that line would be stored along a chain link fence that runs along the east side of the property, the right side of the property. The parking stalls that you see out front, there's a combination of angled parking stalls and perpendicular parking stalls. The stalls out in front will be for customers to park, and then the employee parking stalls will be on the west side of the building. The green spaces that you see there are existing. Those were installed probably back in the time span of about 2010 to 2017 by different tenants and the owner. The site does feature 20% landscaping to meet the zoning requirement. So in terms of a site plan, what staff is asking for and its recommendation are just some maintenance updates, replacing any missing or dead, doing some weeding, just to sort of maintain and bring the site up to the standard of the approved plan for that property. Once the occupancy is obtained by NNS Towing, the parking lot area between Beecher Street here and basically the front of the building will have any cracks or potholes. They'll be resealing it, filling those, patching those, and resealing it, and then restriping the parking lot for a fresher, more current look. And staff is recommending approval. This does require conditional use as a vehicle service facility. It has been used as that in the past, but just given the new use and sort of some site plan changes, staff has brought these conditions forward to show that just sort of updating the fence and gate location being added to a site plan, which has been indicated in the most recent version of the plan. The pavement sealant and striping has been noted on the plan as well. The note on plan that commercial vehicles shall not be parked or staged on the street, and NNS Towing is fully aware of that and agreeable to that situation. They don't want to park their vehicles in the street of Beecher Street. They want them on site behind the building, and then when they're not in use, they're actually going to be stored within the building, so they'll be out of sight. And then any refuse dumpsters being noted on the site plan. And there's, I think, an existing refuse area behind the building, but we'll just want that sort of identified on plan. And the other thing is just signage, which is just a standard. So with that, staff is recommending approval. Our next step is a common council hearing on June 10th.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead, Wayne.
Steve, would we go back to that slide where it shows the asphalt?
Sure.
Is that what's going to be repaired?
Yeah, everything between from the Beecher Street back to like roughly where the fence line or, yeah.
We're talking a year of getting approved for, occupancy, going from where the fence is all the way to the front of the building and around. So if you're on Beecher Street, it looks fresh and clean. The fence will cover the backside. Over the next couple of years, we will take care of the backside. I just want to get like the part where customers and, community members are driving by or walking on the sidewalk, they see a nice look to the building.
Thank you, and while I have you, what would you do with the current property once you vacate and go here?
So I will, keep that property. I'm sure in 10 years, that's going to keep going developed on 84th as apartments and stuff like that. But we still do all the towing for, state fair, for them 11, 12 days. But we plan to use that building as kind of the, ticketing, removal of, vehicles that are parked illegal. Just so they're not walking or getting Ubers all the way to Beecher Street. They can walk right from 84th here until they go down to 83rd National.
I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before, but your current operation, the public street that goes through or around near your place is often crowded with your truck.
Yep, so that's,
It's all be cleaned up.
correct. Yep, that's what the main goal was, to try and find a place that would suit us, still have the same zoning, or allow us to get our trucks off the street. I know it's been like that for the last 4 years, and it's just kind of how we went, because there's only so much property you can purchase in West Dallas, and, that's the main goal was behind this, was to get all our trucks off the street and in the building. There's no, greater thing for me to have my trucks during snow and water on the street. It's valuing them, but they will be off the street. Only maybe one or two will be during state fairs time period on the street, and that's just for a response time. But after them 11 days, no truck will be parked on the street on 83rd Street.
Well, you got a wonderful goal. I hope that it comes to fruition.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead, Kathleen.
What happens if, the vehicles that are towed due to ticketing, if they're not picked up after 2 weeks, are you gonna have a whole bunch of cars stored there, like?
No, so, usually, like I told Steve, the timeframe is usually, a day or 2 weeks that customers pick up their vehicles. Something that is sitting by us, we do have another storage facility, we can take it to, but, something like that isn't gonna be picked up within 21 days is a state statute. We have to send a notarized letter out, and it's deemed to get disposed of if it's not picked up, so it'll be removed from that property.
Any other questions?
Move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and there is a second. If there's no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. And we'll move on. Forward.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is for a project for Antigua, located on the city's east side on 62nd and National Avenue. They are proposing an outdoor patio, no changes to the business operations. This comes as part of a land sale agreement that Antigua bought this portion of formerly city land, as you can see on the screen, and are proposing a patio in that location. This is going to be a part of a two-phased approach. For the 604 square foot patio, phase one is going to include a concrete slab, footings, bollards, outdoor seating, and initial landscaping. Phase two is going to include that pergola with the final lighting and landscaping elements. Shown here is phase one on the top with that decorative patio, and then phase two with that outdoor pergola. Phase one is expected to begin in early summer, with phase two beginning in late summer. With that, there's a recommended motion for approval for the site landscaping architectural design for Antigua, subject to applying for building permits. Thank you.
Any questions?
Move approval.
Second. Motion, 2 seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed? I say the motion carries. On to item 5, site landscape and design review for Prestige Interior Contractors.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is for Prestige Interior Contractors, as the mayor said, at on 84th Street, somewhat nearby State Fair. The applicant is Juan Arvizu, and we have oh, sorry, I was just about to get to that. We do have the applicants represented in the audience if you have any questions. Previous use was for an asbestos abatement company. Proposed on the site is a neighborhood service use, primarily for this storage of construction materials and operation of a small office. They are a current business in West Allis, so they're expanding into a bigger space. The site consists of 3 properties right now, which is kind of odd. It's just a historical feature of this property, but they're all zoned C2, which neighborhood services are permitted use in. There's on the site right now, there's a duplex, a commercial office, and a large parking lot. Hours of operation are 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, featuring 12 full-time employees, and then they are indicating outdoor storage of 4 trailers and 12 to 15 box trucks. The applicants have submitted a site plan for this operation, showing the location of the box trucks along with those trailers, and then you can see the duplex and garage on site. The duplex is currently occupied, but will be occupied by actual workers of the business right here, providing a short commute time. Right now, the southern half of the site is proposed to be employee parking and trailer storage, northern box parking. North of the warehouse is that duplex and garage that I already mentioned. And then there's no structural changes to the building exterior, interior, beyond exterior painting of the buildings to match existing nearby architecture. The duplex roof and garage repairs are planned as well. Here's the existing condition of the back of the building. This is 84th Street would be right here, and then this is the back parking lot area. This is the paint scheme the applicant is choosing to go with to represent their business. The existing duplex that will be modified through future repairs. And then one part of this is the landscaping plan. They are proposing the relocation and repair of the fence on the site, differing from the previous fence that was discussed. This property is in the commercial zoning district, which does not, the design guidelines for the commercial zoning district compared to the I-1 industrial district do not recommend for chain link fencing. The applicant is proposing chain link fencing. However, this it's up to Plan Commission's discretion to approve this. They are proposing chain link fencing in the rear, largely due to future maintenance requirements, whether that be the large parking lot with the snow removal. They don't want the fence to be torn apart over time. They believe that there's higher ability to maintain the fence if it is chain link compared to wood. However, on the front facing facade, this will be a decorative wood fence along 84th Street, so that will be visible from the public. And then that rear fence, as mentioned, is that black vinyl coated chain link fence with privacy slats to surround the commercial interior. Landscaping on the property includes trees and bushes being removed on the front part. Right here, there's existing landscaping, and then this is where that fence will be. And then we are requiring some. This is an existing photo of the fence condition. The wooden fence has deteriorate. I can't talk. It has lessened in quality over time since it was first put up. This is that existing landscaping meant to be removed and provide more visibility for the users and customers of this business and workers to enter and exit. Engineering also recommended this landscaping was sort of an obstruction, so they recommend removal as well. And then the existing pavement condition of the parking lot is something that will need to be addressed. Talking with the applicant, they intend to improve the condition, whether that's replacement or a different method, but it will need to be improved to be eligible for occupancy permits with our code enforcement department. With that being said, there is a recommendation for approval for the site landscaping architectural design review, subject to the conditions of updated site plans showing closure of one of the driveways on 84th Street, location and more details of the fencing, color, details and height, landscaping plan being submitted to show the species and locations on site, indication for the scope of work for the asphalt repair, and then locations for refuse containers, and then also any lighting updates. Additionally, a driveway permit being submitted for any work in the right of way. Thank you.
Motions, anybody? Move to approve. Second. Second. If there's no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Say the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming
Be nice to see bright new blue color.
Yes.
in.
Me
Thank
too.
you.
Like, move on to item 6.
This is for double B's, located at, I believe, 7412 West Greenfield Avenue, right across the street. This property is zone C1. There are no changes to the business operations. And for context on this project, a portion of the right of way in the back rear of the property was vacated and given to the property owner in 2023. A site plan was given by the applicant for this property. We are requesting the following just for a more formal submittal. Ideally, we want plan commission recommendations on this, and if there's anything else we need to include in this project as the applicant proceeds with any potential building permits for the repaving. Shown on the site plan, staff is requesting property lines being displayed along with the layout of the parking stalls on the property and utility upgrades, placement of fixtures, including the smokers for the business or wood, and then also site improvements. We are requiring for four-sided refuse areas and screening. We're looking for any further plan commission recommendations for this property, or if there's any other considerations. This is a very minor change to this property. They're just looking to repave that back area of the property, and there are no other site changes being proposed, but they do have to go through the formal plan commission procedure. We do have a recommendation for approval, subject to submittal of the building permits for the paving project, and then as previously mentioned, the updated site plan elements that could be subject to further discretion by the plan commission. Thank you.
So this is just a repavement?
Repavement of the new land that was, I guess, acquired as part of that vacation and, updated CSM.
Is that what it is?
It's all pavement. It's just, it looked like kind of a really wide, vast alleyway. And, but as part of that vacation and new CSM, the three property owners, Noble Senior Living, which is now, it's another name, Honey Creek Living, Double B's and then Macoco's, all got a little bit more land area. So it's sort of creating a plan for those newly established private lands.
This is just for double B's then?
This one's just for Double B's. Yeah, Macoco's isn't proposing any changes at this time.
Was that a city lot that was back there, or?
It was actually alley right of way and city land. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So right here, there's a city lot that the post office leases, along with the portion of the city lot that the post office also leases. As Steve mentioned, there was a right of way that was for the alley pretty much that ran through here. And now this is all the property lines for Double B's, and it was further delineated with a a certified survey map in 2024 too, so.
Thank you. You have something, Wayne?
Mr. Mayor, in your presentation, didn't I hear you say that you were looking for a more detailed presentation? And are we waiting for that?
Yeah, so we're,
Other than a hand drawing?
yeah, so right now we were submitted, this, however, they did not apply for their building permits yet. With the building permit, they'll be required to, have a further, more detailed plan submitted that the
And then
code
we'll
enforcement.
See that, and then we'll vote on it?
Right now, we're just looking for recommendations for the plan commission to, that'll be approved through staff. However, the plan commission, recommendations will be a part of that approval. You wanna?
So we could report back to the plan commission if you wish, Wayne. I mean, I think the idea here is just to get the pavement behind it, which is currently paved, it's gonna be repaved with new pavement. But then we wanted to, as Jack was saying, the smoker locations will be in a generally the same area as wood pile. We just wanna make sure it's shown on
When
the
you get the
updated plan
final document, then you would approve it.
Yeah.
On behalf of the plan.
on behalf of the plan commission, if that's sufficient with you, yeah.
Any landscaping back there that's gonna be added?
None,
none,
it's
it's
pretty,
or-
it's kind of a tough spot to landscape, just given the other
Palm tree or something.
palm tree or Yeah.
Sometime.
a sculpture of the bull, yeah, something right now.
Yeah.
You have a motion?
Do we have a motion to come to approve?
I'll say,
We do now. All right, any other discussions? It's quick. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I say I vote motion carries. We'll move to item 7, site plan appeal for Temptations and 98 Clearwest Street.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm back. They didn't fire me. No, I was just on hiatus for school. So really good to see you all. So yeah, we're looking at a sign plan approval for Temptations. Applicant is skipped back on behalf of Temptations, and overall, they're just looking for an overall amount of wall signage that does go slightly beyond what we allow for our maximums. They did get 2 signs approved previously, not too long ago. So a 54 square foot wall sign facing Greenfield Avenue, as well as a 39 square foot sign facing 98th Street. And I'll get some pictures going up on the board once we're done with the text. But the additional signage they're looking for is a 30 square foot aluminum heart facing that 98th Street frontage, as well as a 5 square foot door decal sign, which honestly, I'll level with you all, may not even factor into this equation. Section 13.21 essentially outlines that you can have 2 wall signs at maximum or 1 per street frontage. So for Temptations here, they would be looking at a maximum of 2 signs at a total of 128 square feet. Overall, they're proposing 4 total signs if you want to include the decal sign, and that's at just over 128 square feet with the decal sign. Essentially, why we are looking for an overall recommendation of approval. Staff side, we see things as the non-compliant signage faces essentially the less popular of the 2 street frontages, but also, and you'll be able to see a bit more in the pictures, the proposed signage doesn't outright come across as advertisement. It comes across a little bit more decorative, so it may not be perceived as extra signage outright. So you may not get other businesses going, hey, you let Temptations do all of this, but not us. It wouldn't really be perceived in that manner. So up top, these are the 2 signs that were just approved, totally compliant with our regulations. And then if we look to this bottom plan here, they have that little door decal sign as well as the aluminum sign on the other side there. So with the door decal sign, essentially if the applicants can assure to us that that signage is under 20% of the total door window area, it's compliant outright and wouldn't factor into those maximums. So really here, the heart of the issue is the aluminum heart, and whether that additional signage poses a point of contention for you folks here. So with that, overall, we recommend the approval of this sign plan, subject to no conditions at this point, but it's definitely up for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move to approve. Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second just as, just a little caveat, as long as they don't put temptations like in that heart. I don't see why it wouldn't be an issue.
Is, it gonna be lit up?
Don't believe so.
Is it
Will
gonna be
they,
lit up? Just up on the wall?
It's just, yeah.
They put a little color, right?
aluminum, yes. Yep.
Other discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Anyone opposed?
Nay.
That's 7-1, motion carries. 8. Move on to item 3.
Thank you, Mayor. This is for another sign plan appeal for St. Barnabas. This is their location formerly known as St. Rita's on 61st Street, right off of 60th and Lincoln. They are proposing a temporary wall sign along with a monument sign. They are coming to Plan Commission due to their recent decision to consolidate 3 different churches across the city, St. Augustine, St. Rita's, and then Holy Assumption. 2 of the 3 properties require sign plan appeals because they are envisioning longer term temporary signage until they fully consolidate and have one location rather than 3 separate ones. This exceeds our 30-day sign limit, our 30-day limit for temporary signage. However, the Plan Commission can vote to Plan Commission can approve a variance for this signage. All signs for the St. Rita's, St. Barnabas location are within square footage requirements. And then we are asking removal of signage upon full consolidation of St. Barnabas with something more permanent. We have a recommendation for approval of the signage plan for St. Barnabas at 2318 South 61st Street, subject to the removal upon consolidation. Thank you.
Any questions? Go ahead, Wayne.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When is the consolidation expected to occur?
We are unsure at this time that
This could go on for a year.
Plan Commission could have the discretion to add a duration maximum for the temporary signage if you wish. But at this time, we are unaware of when they are going to fully consolidate.
There's something in your write-up about 30 days.
So the 30 days limit, that is the existing limitation for temporary signage within our sign code. They want to be longer term than that, given that it could take a year to fully consolidate.
So essentially, we're just voting to extend the duration beyond.
Yes, yeah. And you can set a limit on that if you wish.
Are they consolidating, or is there a chance that they might not
So-
consolidate?
I can answer that. So my name is Ben Proctor. I'm with Innovative Signs. I'm here on behalf of,
Speak up, please.
I'm here on behalf of St. Barnabas.
Thank you.
I'm with Innovative Signs. So when I spoke with the group of people, the idea is to kind of right now rebrand everything into one entity. And then they are going to probably be selling off certain pieces of the other properties, but they don't know how long it's going to take. You know, so my guess is it's going to take longer than 30 days, right? So I think they were hoping for probably a year in that range, but I don't know if that's unreasonable or not, right?
I would be willing to say a year. And, but make sure we have some finite date so we can come back and look at this again.
Is that material is that like a temporary material, or is it gonna weather like quickly, or is it something that's gonna last for a while?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's budget minded, but it'll last. I mean, it could last like, 7 years. I mean, it's not intended to stay up that long, but that's made of it's called Dibond.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So I guess my biggest question is, if they are going to consolidate and everything else, why are we not just putting up a permanent sign, even though, what's a temporary sign? What's the reason for the temporary sign instead of just putting up a permanent sign if they're gonna consolidate anyway? But that's my question is, why a temporary sign for a year? They have, if
I
they are
guess
consolidating.
they're not-
Put up a permanent sign.
Yeah, I guess they're not necessarily, I just don't know, and they don't know exactly how long it's gonna take.
I know a little bit about the situation, but I mean, previous plan commission, we had the St. Rita's School being sold to Academy of Excellence.
Yeah,
So they're actively in the process of trying to sell St. Rita's. And in fact, I think they did close on the school part of it, but the church still remains part of St. Barnabas. And I think they have to get archdiocese and maybe even the new Pope's blessing on selling the church or, decommissioning it as a Catholic church. So it'll take a little time. And then St. Augustine as well. That's also, I think, on their list of properties to sell. I think they're looking at where are they gonna come to rest and operate as a church. And I think they're aiming towards Holy Assumption.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Sorry,
saying,
yeah. So these
so
other,
this is St. Rita's right here is what.
this one's St. Rita's, and then, yeah.
So this is the one where they're gonna try and get rid of and move to a different location.
Holy
Is that-
Assumption, I think, from my understanding, is gonna be the eventual landing spot, I think. from my
Okay,
So, yeah, that's what we know right now.
okay, and that's what I wanted to clear up. I wasn't exactly, I thought this was gonna be like
It's a
a
little
permanent
confusing.
spot.
Yeah.
And this is the temporary spot. Okay, got it.
Any other questions?
I would amend it, so 1 year.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
That's the motion.
I'll second it. Yeah.
Second. Any other discussion on the motion with the 1 year timeline? And we can always extend that if it comes back in front of us.
Who was our second one?
I second it, Steve.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. One abstention, please report. Motion carries. Someday. We'll move on to item 9, St. Barnabas East or West.
Yeah, so thank you, Mayor. This is essentially the same thing. Yeah, if you'd like to, yep.
I mean, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's just at the St. Augustine location.
For the year then.
Move in a second.
You got a question, Wayne?
All in favor?
Aye.
One abstention. Motion carries. Item 10, project tracking.
Shown in this background photo is Storage Rentals of America that was approved way back in 2023. They have completed construction and are applying for occupancy right now. This is on 111th and Lapham. Active under work and construction. Just a little update in the photo in the top left, we see Checkers over on 110th and Greenfield, 111th Greenfield. The new car wash at about 109th and Oklahoma in the former Incrediroll site, the North Shore Bank, and then also the interior of Pan Asia grocery store right down the street from here. You can go look for yourself. They've removed the cardboard in front of the windows, so you can look right inside of it. And they have an opening soon sign. Along with the other projects, we have the Rev furthering up completion, near completion, the Emerald, along with Union Green and the Apiary. Any other questions on any other projects? Just let us know.
Yeah, I had one. The Michael's restaurant on like 84th in Cleveland. Yeah, what's the status on that?
Yeah, so we've
Yeah.
we've contacted the applicants for that, Sam and Michael, who are the current owners of Michael's, and we have not heard any updates on the project, so we are unaware at this time if they would move forward. But however, because it was conditional use, they would have to go back to plan commission for reapproval of that, but we have not heard any indication on whether or not the project is still happening. The last thing we heard was that costs in labor and materials for the I think the kitchen materials and equipment escalated, so I'm unaware at this time.
Well, thank you.
Anything else?
At one time, probably last year, we've had two proposals relative to drive-through coffee operations in the Target parking lot. What's happened to those? They're dried up, no coffee beans.
Tariffs.
Yeah, the tariffs can't happen.
No, it was, I think the presence of caribou.
I was gonna say Caribou's there
Up
now.
the street.
That and the-
Yeah, they were at, also, I think, looking at one point at the Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah.
in Lincoln and part of the outlet there closer to Lincoln, but I don't know if that's ever.
I haven't heard anything further on that. The Target too was very expensive to run the water line, the utility in, so that was a huge cost. And then I think the combination with the Caribou, I think that just kind of kicked it out. Yeah.
There's a coffee operation on Moreland, just south of the freeway.
Oh,
They've got a magic bullet.
my kids love that.
I've seen lines of 40 cars waiting to go through there.
All the time.
Yeah,
Random.
7 Brew. Yeah. My kids love that.
Also makes a
Look at the. Anything else with that?
Original Coke formula.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned.
Right, thank you.
And we were running. Where are you? Good, are you? Good to see you.
No. Yeah. How'd the at the end of the transportation academy.
Good, but honestly, I kept like writing my mail because like figuring out it wasn't really the question, but the nation of what they do and the job and everything. So at a certain point, I'm like, there's no way I'm hitting item 1. Who knows about my other item, whatever.
Yeah, they were good for presentations, so.
Honestly, I thought they did a really nice job and put a lot of thought to things. My favorite, maybe the first one.
Yeah, the first one was definitely I like that one the most just because it was the most easiest to follow, I'd say. Brooks was really easy to follow too.
Yeah.
But the ADA one was harder to follow, but I think that was the most informative.
I learned like so
What was it, partner or?
Rebecca, yeah.
Talk about accessibility. Maybe it's more of like an engineer. But for granted, like, just went up, whatever.
Yeah.
But you're realizing like all of the accessibility issues.
Yeah.
I know, I don't know anyone who, it's just difficult to think about when you're able-bodied at the moment.
I guess it's like one email that we send.
Yeah.
Kind of awareness, so that's stuff
Oh, yeah,
more
yeah,
than usual.
yeah.
Get like a representative,
Yeah.
you start queuing in. I just say, hey, here's some features of transportation, huge change that's happening. See,
Yeah, hopefully. There's some cool stuff that's out there that we could do.
Working on the trucks are.
Yeah. But it was a hassle.
You still
though,
from the
you know, getting ready for the
Then it gets inspected, and then you have to shut down, or.
Well, it's like
It's just not cool. Yeah.
day. Give my time,
Oh, yeah.
And-
enjoyed working with both of
and
you.
30th?
So,
You just still want
It
to kind of do it.
Yeah.
I might pay $1,000 for it.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.